Hi everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Malice in the Mitten. I'm your host, Tracy Preston, along with my bestie, Christine Mulligan. Hey, Christine.
Hey, Trace, what's going on? What are we getting into today?
Well, I have a really good story for you today, and it's still unsolved. So we're diving into an unsolved case.
Alrighty then.
All right, let's dive in. This is season 10, episode 28, Forever 11, the story of Karl Heikell.
Forever 11? Are you kidding me, Trace? Are we going to talk about an 11-year-old?
Yes, we are.
Oh, you son of a...
You son of a bitch.
That's how I'm starting my day. Let's go. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. You see, you couldn't even patch that up to make that look like it was going to be a good time. You couldn't even do it. You tried.
My patching failed.
Exactly. All right, just get into it already. Jeez.
All right, here we go. Michigan has places where history doesn't sit still. It lingers. In old buildings, in abandoned land, in towns that once buzzed with life and now carry stories no one ever meant to tell out loud. Today we return to one of those places, Calumet, Michigan, at the northern edge of the Upper Peninsula, a town shaped by copper, community, and tragedy. This story was written by a close friend of mine, Rebecca Hiers. Her voice matters, and her words remain exactly as she wrote them. So thank you, Rebecca, and welcome back to the show. What we're about to hear is not just a timeline of events, it's a quiet walk through a disappearance that still echoes more than 40 years later. This is the story of Karl Heikell.
Before we get into it, this episode contains discussions of a missing child, much to my chagrin as well, the discovery of human remains, and references to abuse and death. Some details may be distressing, especially for parents or sensitive listeners. Please take care while listening and consider stepping away if the content may be difficult for you.
Calumet, Michigan sits at the northern tip of Michigan's Upper Peninsula. In season 6, episode 15, we took a look at the ghosts of Calumet Theater. And in season 4, episode 9, we checked out the Italian Hall disaster. Today, we return to Calumet and the mysterious disappearance of Karl Heikell. Karl Heikell was an average Upper Michigan preteen boy in October of 1981. In that phase of almost teen, but not quite a child, he was testing boundaries and pushing limits as many pre-teens do. Karl was born September 7th, 1970 in Laurium, Michigan, to parents Patricia and Lawrence Heikell. By 1981, the Heikell family was living in the tiny town of Centennial Heights, just north of Calumet, in Calumet Township. He was the youngest of 4 children and the only boy. Prone to temper tantrums, Karl was in special classes at school, but they were designed to help him cope with his emotions. In an interview, his mother described him as being about 2 years behind his peers. Described as friendly and outgoing, Karl was part of the local hockey team and was looking forward to the new season. His parents had even bought him new equipment. His mother also stated that Karl was, quote, easily persuaded to do things and was very trusting. A few weeks before Halloween, Karl began acting up more than usual. He would go to school, fake being sick. His parents would bring him home and he would escape to walk around uptown with his friend Dale. His truancy was a bone of contention between Karl and his parents, but in the few days before Halloween, Karl seemed to have calmed down.
Okay, so hearing a little bit of background about how trusting Karl was and how young he really was, that sticks with you a little bit. It makes everything that follow feel much heavier, I'm sure.
It does. Now, about 4 p.m. on October 31st, Karl told his father he was going for a walk. He told his sister he was going to a drinking party. Now, dark comes early in Michigan in the fall, and Karl was afraid of the dark. So his parents assumed he would be home soon. Karl wouldn't even go in the basement or upstairs of his home at night unless another person was already there. He was also afraid of the woods. It was Saturday and Halloween, so when he didn't come home when it got dark, his parents thought maybe he was trick-or-treating with some friends. He was prone to staying the night with friends, so when he didn't come home, they figured he had just forgotten to call and let them know. It was a time before cell phones, and parents in safe communities didn't always worry when children didn't come home.
Yeah, I think it's really important to remember when you're telling this story that this was a different time. No cell phones, no instant check-ins. What feels unthinkable now wasn't unusual then. I mean, this is a time where on the television, they used to remind parents, do you know where your children are? Because children would stay out past the streetlights. And in Michigan, I don't even know if you had streetlights.
Yeah, in most community, at least I know in my community, we didn't have them. There's still a lot of, communities in the town where I grew up that still don't. Just downtown, so it's dark as shit.
Yeah, so, it's a time where the TV reminded parents, do you know where your children are? But also a time where there were no cell phones, no instant check-ins. So when he didn't come home, they probably waited a few hours before the panic really set in.
Wow, a few hours, more like a whole day.
Wow.
Yeah. So the next day, Patricia contacted the Michigan State Police when he hadn't come home by 6 p.m. the next night, which to me sounds absolutely unfathomable. But again, it was a different time. The state police got right into the investigation. Patricia thought he might be with a friend, 12-year-old Dale Kopinen. He also hadn't come home that night. Now, a check showed the boys were not even together. Police and the family checked everywhere they could think of. The Calumet Armory, where hockey games were held. Old schools. The Calumet Dam, where kids went to party. They checked as far north as Delaware, Michigan, which is about 22 miles north of Centennial, an abandoned mining town where the local kids were rumored to have a clubhouse. All results showed no signs of him being there. Interviews with people had him showing up around town. A neighbor saw him at 1 p.m. on Halloween in Calumet by Harder's Party Store. A family friend saw him at the Armory a few blocks away at 3 p.m. the same day. Another saw him walking toward the home of a local 16-year-old boy, Billy Langdon, between 4 and 4:30 p.m. Billy, however, said that it was 1:30 on Halloween that Karl had come to him and asked if he could help check Billy's trap lines. The trap lines were located near the Calumet Dam. Billy told the police that since Karl wasn't wearing boots, he told him no. At that time, Karl told him he was going to Lake Linden to go trick-or-treating. Then he left. Now, Lake Linden is about 6 miles southeast of Centennial Heights. They interviewed a 13-year-old girl named Tina C. Tina stated she had seen Karl around town, then later at a neighbor's apartment at 10:30 p.m. on Sunday. She told police she asked him if he was going home, and he told her, "No, I'm not going home tonight." The residents of the apartment, Steve and Robert Gronwald, were contacted and denied knowing Karl. They were warned by the police about helping children run away. And interviews with other children said Karl had been to the Grunwald's apartment many times. It was a hangout for kids, and they were lying. The apartment was searched, but no sign of Karl was found. Caroline Cravola, who Karl had sometimes stayed with, lived in Lake Linden. She told police that she had seen Karl and spoke to him on November 1st, about 4 p.m., giving credence to Billy Langdon's claim he was trick-or-treating there. They searched an old tree fort Karl used to play in, located in the woods behind her house, but found no sign of the missing boy there either. Tina would change her story the next day to say it was Saturday night, not Sunday, that she had seen Karl at the Grunwald's apartment. Darlene Lom, also 13, would back up the new claims when she was interviewed. A follow-up interview with his friend Dale Carvola had him claim he was the only one to spend the night at the Grunwalds, and he had not seen Karl. He said the two had plans to trick-or-treat, but Karl never showed up. Now, he later took a polygraph test.
All right, this is where it's starting to get confusing for me listening, and honestly a little frustrating. There's a lot of stories, a lot of versions, so many, and none of them are lining up with each other at all.
That's right. This is like round and round we go on this one. Now, in the late 1800s and early 1900s, Calumet was the copper mining capital of the world. After the mining strike of 1913, things began to go downhill for the mines as production slowed. The mines began to shut down. By the 1960s, they were shut down for good. As a part of mining, many shafts were drilled straight down into the ground. With disuse, they began to fill with water. Brush and grass began to cover the holes, and they weren't always visible. Some of them were capped as a protective measure, but wood was often used. So with heavy winter snows and rain, the wood began to rot. In 1966, Ruth Ann Miller was picking berries and playing with her brother at the site of a former tamarack mine. Suddenly, the ground gave way, and the 7-year-old fell in. Rescue teams went down over 400 feet and found the cement cap covered with debris. Eventually, they would make it down to 1,000 feet, but little Ruth Ann's body was never found. The tunnel was recapped, and a fence was placed around the shaft. After this incident, the safety of the local population was taken a bit more seriously, and the mine shafts were capped with cement in a way that prohibited them from collapse. But maybe they had missed one, and little Karl had joined Ruth at the bottom of a mine shaft. Air searches were conducted, looking for evidence of a capping failure or of a body, but nothing was found. No matter where they looked, Karl was just gone. Police began to believe he was a runaway. As the days passed with no sign of Karl, rumors began to circulate, not just among adults, but among children. Some claimed Karl was still alive, hiding somewhere in the woods surrounding Calumet, that older boys were bringing him food, that he had a place to stay, unseen, but nearby. These stories spread quickly. Teachers heard them, police heard them, parents repeated them. None of the claims could be verified. No shelter was found, no supplies, no trace of Karl. But the idea that he was out there, cold, scared, but alive, took hold of the community and shaped how people understood his disappearance.
The possibility alone, just the possibilities, are terrifying. And knowing that this happened before, it makes it impossible to dismiss. When adults start believing a child just ran away, it quietly changes everything about how the case is treated. Rumors like that can feel comforting at first. You're thinking the child ran away instead of died, but they can also delay real answers.
Absolutely. Now, on November 11th, Patricia went to the state police post to report that she had received a phone call where the caller informed her that a group of boys were hiding Karl in the woods and bringing him food. By the 14th, the rumor mill was in full blast. Some kids reported to their teachers that they knew Karl was in the woods and they were hiding him due to abuse at home from both his mother and father. But there was zero documented evidence of abuse in the home. Although the children claimed Karl was black and blue all over, Billy Langdon purchased 8 sandwiches from the school cafeteria, then left them behind. Rumors flew that Billy was helping to hide Karl. When interviewed by the police, Billy stated he had purchased them with money given to him by another student for that student, and he left them there for the student to pick them up. Billy would be polygraphed and he would pass the test. By November 30th, things got weird. The police started to receive numerous reports of a man driving a brown car, wearing a mask, and driving up to children as they trick-or-treated. The man in the mask would stop his car, look at the kids for a few minutes, then drive away. The man was seen at a bar a few miles from Lake Linden by adults. He was seen in Calumet by adults. He was seen in Calumet by children. Now, police traced all reports from Calumet to Lake Linden, but the masked man was never identified. A man named Gary Olson had open heart surgery in 1980. His doctor had told him he needed to walk more to stay healthy. Now, Mr. Olson also lived in Centennial Heights, not far from the Heikell family. He walked roughly 2 miles a day. On November 30th, while taking his daily walk, he noticed something silver shining in the snow. Stopping to look, he realized it was part of a watch. Now, it looked like one a young boy would wear. He found it just east of Billy Langdon's home. Picking it up, he took it home with him. And when he later saw Lawrence, he showed him the watch. Now, Lawrence positively identified it as his son's. The band was missing, and Gary had found it on top of the snow, so it couldn't have been there long. Or he would have seen it the day before on his walk. The watch was placed into evidence. The area was searched, but again, Karl was not found.
Okay, so this watch feels pretty significant, something tangible, and the timing of it is pretty hard to ignore. I mean, it's like a month later.
Yeah, and on top of the snow? Doesn't make any sense.
No, so somebody had it. So somebody knows something is immediately what I get from that.
Me too. Now, time passed with no sign of Karl. Christmas came and went. So did New Year's. Soon, it was April of 1982. Lisa Heikell, one of Karl's sisters, came to the police and said she had run into Dale K at the bowling alley. She claimed Dale had told her that he and some other boys had been drinking at the Calumet Dam the night Karl disappeared. Dale had told Karl to take off, and Karl had run off into the woods. The police were interested in this information, as Dale had told them earlier that he hadn't seen Karl since they got off the bus the day before Karl went missing. In later interviews with other boys, It was determined the confrontation happened the week before Karl went missing. On May 6, 1982, another air search was done. And like the one done earlier, nothing was found. The speculation about Billy's involvement with Karl's disappearance would arise again in June. Billy was staying at the family's camp in Eagle Harbor when his mother went into his bedroom. There, she found some stolen items. She contacted their attorney, and he recommended the items and Billy be turned into the police. His father went to pick him up, and the two talked on the 35-minute drive home. Billy agreed to turn himself and the stolen items in when they returned home. Now, upon arriving at their home, Billy told his dad that he had some more items in his bedroom and he needed to go get them. And when Billy didn't come down for quite some time, his father went to check on him. As he opened the bedroom door, Billy, sitting on the bed, looked at him, put a gun to his chest, and pulled the trigger. He was dead before he hit the floor.
All right, so this raises so many questions. And no matter how you look at it, it doesn't feel simple. Billy was obviously struggling with some stuff.
Yeah, he was. I mean, holy shit. I mean, he'd rather kill himself than deal with whatever happened.
Yeah, well, maybe he's the perpetrator of what happened. Maybe he did some stuff to his friend. That's immediately where my mind goes to, is guilty conscience does as guilty conscience does.
That's right. Now questions arose as to why. Why would a 17-year-old shoot himself over some stolen items? Was there more to it than that? Did he have something to do with Karl's disappearance? Well, that rumor mill flourished. Another boy interviewed was Todd Juneau. According to Todd, he and Karl went to Dale's home the night of Halloween. They hung out there until about 6 p.m. when it was getting dark. Now remember, Karl was afraid of the dark, so the two boys walked Karl to the trailhead that went past the Calumet Dam. Following the trailhead, Karl would have been within 1,000 feet of his home. He would also have been in the area of Billy's trap lines. It was almost a year later when a bird hunter was walking in the woods about a half a mile from the Heikell home. October 2nd, 1982. The man was walking through the woods when he came across a pair of blue jeans, remnants of a blue and green plaid shirt, underwear, white socks, and a blue nylon jacket. All items Karl was wearing when he left home in 1981. Now the clothes were torn, but were identified as belonging to Karl. Further searching would lead to the finding of some fingernails, tufts of hair, and one partial bone. A deeper search turned up a femur bone piece, but nothing more was ever found.
Okay, so this is the moment that every family dreads. More pieces of evidence and some answers, but they leave nothing but more questions. So they're all answers without explanations. It's like getting all of this, but ending up with nothing.
Right, and you know, as a parent, I mean, you're always holding out hope, but this is definitely a finality that they know something horrible has happened to their son.
Yeah, another thing that I'm thinking about the parents is they've been dragged through the mud because there were a lot of rumors about how they were abusive and how their son would want to run away and all of that. So, I don't know. I feel bad for these parents on so many different levels.
I do too. Now, the bones and fingernails were identified as belonging to a young child between the ages of 11 and 15 and would later be identified as what was left of Karl. But how we got there is unknown. The police had held on to the remains, such as they were, and they did not release them to the family. Karl's mother, Patricia, petitioned the court to have his cause of death recorded so a death certificate could be issued and they could bury their son. The court agreed and deemed his death one of natural causes occurring on October 31st, 1981. At the time, the bones were given to his family for burial. In 1984, a new suspect appeared on the police radar, Alan Polawara. He was a 40-year-old friend and sometime employee of Karl's uncle. He was divorced with 2 sons, one his, one a stepson, both around Karl's age. Alan often saw Karl when he visited his uncle's repair shop. He was also close friends with some of Karl's family. In September of 1984, the state police were contacted by a social worker from Community Mental Health. By 1984, Alan's boys were 17 and 18 years old. During a visit to their aunt, they confided that Alan had started sexually abusing both of them when they were about aged 10 and 11. Their aunt contacted their mother, who had divorced Alan in 1977, but they had remained in touch. When she found out about the abuse, she gave him the ultimatum of therapy or police. Well, he opted for therapy, and the social worker he spoke with turned him in, and I say good for her. An avid hunter, Alan often hunted the heavily wooded area where Karl's remains had been found. His ex-wife would state that Alan, quote, knew those woods like the back of his hand, and once, while driving through Centennial Heights, after Karl's remains had been found, he told her, quote, that was the place they found him, even though he had never participated in any searches. The night of Karl's disappearance, Karl was seen 2 buildings down from where Alan was working. Alan was interviewed and agreed to take a polygraph test. And guess what? He passed, and his involvement in the disappearance was never followed up on again. In 1983, after the remains were given to Karl's family, all evidence was either, get this, burned by the police, turned over to his family, or to the funeral home. So there is nothing to do DNA testing on that is left. The case remains unsolved to this day. Now, who do you believe was the culprit? Did Billy catch Karl by his trap lines and kill him, then later himself due to guilt? Was it the mystery man in the car wearing the mask? Did he really go drinking with some older boys at the dam, and did they do something to him? Did police really drop the ball not following through with Alan? Was Alan abusing Karl, and that is why he was acting up before he went missing? 40 years after the finding of the body, a family bought the land Karl was found on. One night, while out in a tree stand, the man heard what sounded like a child crying. When he turned his light on and shone it around, the crying stopped. When he turned it off again, the crying resumed.
Whether you believe in spirits or not, that image stays with you. A child still trying to be heard. That gives me the chills.
Yeah, the big willies. Was this the spirit of Karl trying to let his final moments be known? For a deeper dive into the case, the website Halloween1981.com has maps, photos, and police reports on the case. Now, Lawrence, Karl's father, died in 2017, not knowing what happened to his son. His mother was still alive as of 2022. His sister Patty and other family members desperately want answers. So if you have any information, please contact the Michigan State Police Calumet Post at 906-337-5145.
Okay, I just want to say a man that was abusing his son and stepson since they were 10 or 11. There is a missing and deceased 11-year-old boy that was friends with them that was seen 2 buildings away from where he was that night that he was last seen by several people. Come on. 1 and 1 usually makes 2. When you hear hoof prints, it's usually a horse and not a zebra. This guy probably murdered him, and the other kids probably witnessed it, like the other kid that shot himself in the chest. He was probably there. He probably stole trinkets of his friend to remember his friend because he's seen everything that happened. I don't know. I got it all worked out in my head, that's for sure.
Right. And as you're talking, because I can't stop thinking about why this kid shot himself. So another possible that came into my mind was maybe he had been abused by this guy. Possible.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. It all has to do. They were all friends. This guy probably made them feel, like tough men in a weird way, the way predators do to children. They bring them in, they show them porn, they give them beer, they do all those things, and they make them feel like friends, and it's a pact, and it's a secret, and it's all this crazy crap that child predators do, in the minds of teenagers, especially teenage boys, where they're struggling to become men in the first place because of all these societal pressures on them. So I have it all worked out in my head. It was a whole thing. This guy had a bunch of kids that he was abusing, and he was mind fucking them all.
I can't say I disagree. I think it's a great theory, and it's a real damn shame that, this kid's clothes and anything that could have possibly had any remains of DNA on them was destroyed. And they didn't dig further into this guy, but I guess that was the times, right?
The time where they didn't know about DNA evidence like they do now. It was the 80s.
Right.
It wasn't that prevalent. And even if it was available, it was only available to like the top brass, like the FBI and the CIA at that point. It wasn't something that every police agency knew about, for sure.
That's right. And back in the 80s, that's when it was just being born. So if those were still in evidence, it's been a long time, but a cold case could possibly still be solved had they had that stuff. So it's a horrible shame.
It is. So I'm sorry, remind me, where did this guy end up?
Alan, he could possibly still be alive. I don't even know if he's still up in the area. Be an elderly man by now for sure, if he was still alive. And how horrible as a father or a mother, especially for the father. I don't know if the mother's still alive or not. As of 2022, she was. But could you imagine living an entire life not knowing what happened to your son? He's dead, clearly. But how did that happen?
Yeah, no, I would not still be around, period.
Yeah.
That's why I hate hearing, not the only reason, I hate hearing about all these children, these missing children and the abused children. And I don't know. We only do Michigan-based stuff. So it's just my perspective, I'm sure. But I feel like there's so much child abuse happening in Michigan. What's happening?
I know, it's bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers.
Ugh, God.
Yeah, but I think if we dig into any state, you're going to find it.
Sure.
You're going to find it.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, disgustingly, that's a fact.
Yes, it is. Now, if you found our story today informative, intriguing, or interesting, please hit the like button and share and subscribe. We appreciate your support of our channel and look forward to bringing you more stories of Malice in the Mitten. So thank you for listening, everyone. We will see you all back on Wednesday for Round Robin. Have a great week, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.